afternoon, Rich Tyson here. Hey, today I'd like to introduce you to a new segment on our CEO Builder channel. This is Rich Reads, books that I have read that I would recommend. A number of my clients have asked me to do this, and so we're going to take a stab at it. I have the 5 best business books that I feel like I've read in recent years. They're not all this year, although the first one is a new book, newly released by Simon Sinek. It's called The Infinite Game. And this may be the best book for CEOs, owners, and entrepreneurs that I have ever read. Sinek carefully draws a clear distinction between leaders who lead from a finite perspective versus those who see their enterprises in an infinite way. In so doing, he takes on the common notion that business is just all about the money. The finite model is largely based on the central premise of economist Milton Friedman that the sole purpose of business is to make money, and that money belongs to the owners of the company. Money provides the ultimate scorecard, and by definition, winners in the game are the company shareholders. The infinite model, on the other hand, places owner interest secondary to the interest of the consumer. It acknowledges that financial outcomes are a function of how well we serve our customers. Further, Sinek asserts that how we treat our employees, including how we train and develop them, will be reflected in how we serve our customers. Now, why is that an infinite game? Well, it's because unlike financial goals, there's no clear finish line. The goal to continually improve how we treat our employees and our customers is never fully achieved. It goes on beyond the fiscal year. Indeed, it goes on beyond the tenure and perhaps even the life of the company founder, the CEO, or the owner. Sinek notes that over the course of the past 30 or 40 years, finite-minded leadership has become the modern standard in business. This is embraced by Wall Street, and it's taught in most MBA programs and in the business schools. What is the effect of this mindset? Sinek quotes a study by the consulting firm McKinsey that observes that the average lifespan of an S&P 500 company has dropped over 40 years since the 1950s, from an average of 61 years to less than 18 years today. His conclusion is that many leaders are building companies that are simply not made to last. Too many leaders are finite-minded. Sinek provides a path for leaders to engage in the infinite game by adopting a just cause. He defines a just cause as being for something in affirmative and optimistic terms, as inclusive, open to all who would like to contribute to it, as service-oriented for the primary benefit of others, resilient, able to endure political, technological, and cultural change, and idealistic, big, bold, and ultimately unachievable. The Infinite Game shares this path and many other important insights, and it's rich with stories which illustrate those leaders who have exhibited both infinite and finite leadership. I recommend it for all CEOs, company presidents, owners, and entrepreneurs. It is well worth your time, attention, and deep thought. Again, this is the book here, The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. The second book that I want to recommend to you is The Outward Mindset by the Arbinger Institute. Where Simon Sinek has defined the infinite game, the Arbinger Institute has provided the mindset that should permeate each company that embarks on the path to that infinite game. It is the best book I have read in years that challenges leaders and their teams to move from a me mentality to a we mentality. The authors acknowledge that people are naturally inward in our mindsets, and that incentive structures, company metrics, career goals, and personal egos all conspire to keep people focused on themselves and their own perceived needs and challenges. These have often led to extraordinary problems that undermine the unity needed to achieve desired outcomes. Contrast this to the outward mindset, where leaders and others commit to, first, observe the needs, objectives, and challenges of others, Second, adjust their efforts to address those needs, objectives, and challenges. And third, measure the impact of their efforts. The outward mindset should begin with each individual. They should apply it to their customers and beyond that, their coworkers within the company, as well as those to whom they report and those who report to them. It should also extend to the organization, governing how they interact as a company with customers, partners, their workforce, and their owners. The outward mindset provides leaders with an excellent handbook for conversion from the inward to the outward mentality. It is an outstanding guide to how to change lives and transform organizations. Now the third book. This book is by Clayton Christensen, How Will You Measure Your Life? Perhaps the consistently best author that I have read over the years has been Clayton Christensen. In a more expansive list of my best books for business leaders, Clay's works will show up again and again. This particular book isn't often at the top of the list for most business leaders, but I feel that it is of central importance to those who seek a fulfilling life, one of meaning and happiness. It is also very illustrative of a number of important business principles that will benefit CEOs and other executives. In How Will You Measure Your Life, Clay asked a series of questions to guide the reader to their own clear definition of fulfillment. The three basic questions are: 1, how can I be sure that I'll find satisfaction in my career? 2, how can I be sure that my personal relationships become enduring sources of happiness? 3, how can I avoid compromising my integrity and stay out of jail? Clay digs deeper into each of these areas, providing insights that may prove to be both career and life-altering. They focus on who we really are and what makes us happy, how we can maintain our most important relationships, and avoiding compromises of our values that may lead to heartache or even devastating regret. Clay brings us to the importance of clarity of our personal purpose as the essential guiding light for our lives. I have given this book as a gift to my children, friends, and clients over the years. It's a classic that everyone should read. Now for the fourth book. The fourth one is Multipliers by Liz Wiseman. Liz Wiseman asked a fundamental question: are you a genius or are you a genius maker? She suggests that there are two dramatically different types of leaders. The first she calls diminishers. They drain intelligence, energy, and capability from others and need to be the smartest ones in the room. The second type are multipliers, those who use their intelligence to amplify the capabilities of others. Liz does a masterful job of comparing and contrasting diminishers and multipliers, setting forth and discussing the 5 disciplines of the multipliers. Multipliers tend to be, first, talent magnets; second, what she calls liberators; third, challengers; fourth, debate makers; and fifth, investors. Diminishers, on the other hand, are characteristically empire builders, tyrants, know-it-alls, centralized decision makers, and micromanagers. Liz weaves together case studies that allow the reader to clearly understand both types of leaders. At the end of each chapter, she identifies the fundamental practices of each multiplier discipline, along with practical ways to master that discipline. She also shares unexpected findings from her research that provide further leadership insights. This book provides an excellent set of standards for leaders. Indeed, Liz Wiseman's research shows that multipliers are rated 42% higher at delivering world-class results than their diminisher counterparts. Multipliers is a highly introspective read. It'll make you think about yourself. I recommend it highly for anyone who leads in any circumstance or any enterprise. Now finally, the fifth one that I'm recommending to you is A More Beautiful Question by Warren Berger. A More Beautiful Question is a manual for innovation and problem solving. Warren Berger uses questions in deeply imaginative ways to identify and solve problems, to come up with breakthrough ideas, and to define and pursue new opportunities. Berger makes a case for a significant increase in the use of questions on both an individual and group basis to stimulate creativity. He shows how questioning has gotten a bad rap and how we must relearn our basic childlike curiosity and inclination to ask questions. Berger provides the reader with 3 essential questions that lead to innovative ideas and problem solving. They are, first, why? Second, what if? And third, how? While these questions seem quite simple, they provide the basis for breakthrough answers. Berger's book is rich with examples of how these 3 questions have been used to literally lead to extraordinary innovations, how they have led to disruptive new industries, and how they have impacted the personal lives of so many people in so many positive ways. If you have ever wondered why things are how they are, or what if they were different, you may be well on your way to figuring out how to change the world. A More Beautiful Question is a wonderful guidebook to help you navigate that process. Well, that's the 5 that I have for you again. Let me just, in reverse order, A More Beautiful Question, Warren Berger's book; Multipliers, Liz Wiseman's book; How Will You Measure Your Life by Clayton M. Christensen; The Outward Mindset by the Arbinger Institute; and the most recent published book by Simon Sinek, The Infinite Game. Might I finish by just a reminder from one of my earlier videos. Ralph Waldo Emerson, who was considered at one point the most intelligent man of the 19th century, he recommended 3 things that will help us learn. The first one was, he said, be observant. See what's going on in the world around you. Pay attention, I think he would say today, to the news. Stay up on current events and so forth. Second, he said to read. And so I would recommend to anyone who watches our videos here, any of my clients, please take the opportunity to read. If you're not a reader, get your Audible or other devices where you can listen, but pay attention to the new information that's coming out. It's stimulating. It'll help you in your leadership responsibilities. And then finally, the third piece of what Emerson said was, become an experimenter. Do something with what you're learning. Don't just collect data and information, but go do something with it. Well, in that regard, I would encourage you again to read these books. That would be the first thing to do if you haven't already. And then look where you can apply them to help you in your specific leadership challenges. Thank you for listening today. We will have on our website some links so that if you want to click on them and go right to Amazon, we'll make it easy for you. So that will be there shortly as well. So please do that. We're grateful that you're subscribing or are looking into subscribing to our CEO Builder channel. And thank you so much. We're grateful for all of you who take the time to listen to what we have to say. Thanks again. Bye now.